Good night and welcome to Teleislas News with the most relevant and important information of the day. Carolina Environmental Corporation participated in the meeting of the Interinstitutional Committee for the Defense of Public Property, where decisions were made regarding people who have been occupying low-tide land illegally and punitive measures to be applied.
According to the complaints and verifications made in different areas of San Andres, there are already 17 allegedly illegal construction in coastal areas that were identified, which are considered that they were built taking advantage of the situation of the phenomenon that crossed the island 2 years ago, in order to subsequently take illegal possession of the area. The Deputy Director of Seas and Coast of the corporation, Gilberto Miles, gave us more details via telephone.
Efectivamente, esta es una reunión convocada.
This is a meeting convened by the corporation because we wanted to follow up on several meetings that have been made with previous dates. Today was to see how we are going to design the strategy to counter-arrest the constructions without the respective permits that are being developed on the coastal border. In the meeting, a strategy was designed among all the institutions that were present because the work is being developed in an interinstitutional way. And the conclusion is that all the institutions from the legal part are going to join efforts and look at all the regulatory part and decide how to operate to give an effective control over these constructions that are taking place in an illegal way.
The committee calls on the community to avoid the purchase or construction on land in coastal areas, low tide or mangrove, which is considered illegal, typified in Law 9 of 1989, because this action could be immersed in sanctions for non-compliance.
And in the afternoon, there was a new incident involving a mule-type vehicle on the island of San Andres. On this occasion, two tourists were driving, say that the vehicle broke in two after they felt that it was swaying while they were on the road. Images of the two people who were in the vehicle, who apparently received some minor injuries, have been viralized through social networks, also showing how the vehicle disintegrated completely. Regarding this incident, Teleislas News made the corresponding consultations, but at the closing of this news, no pronouncement. In other news, the police department of San Andres provide information on the captures that occurred during the long weekend.
The first capture was of two women and a man from the city of Bogota for the crime of trafficking, manufacturing, and carrying narcotics. They were trying to bring approximately 6 kilograms of a substance with similar characteristics to marijuana attached to their bodies. Also, a 26-year-old man was arrested who was found to be in possession of a bag containing a vegetable substance with characteristics similar to marijuana, a small weight, and cash.
In control exercises, the police quadrant captured a person carrying marijuana. Consequently, with more than 300 men, we guarantee security and tranquility during the elections.
Likewise, during patrolling, searching, and controlling activities, the capture of a 20-year-old citizen who had in his possession a pistol-type firearm with a supplier and similarly 11 cartridges was achieved. In this way, they were able to significantly mitigate the events that could ender the tranquility of the inhabitants of the archipelago.
Manor, who is allegedly responsible for the murder of another young man in the New Guinea sector on May 10th of this year, was apprehended.
In the last hours, the police authorities of the city of Cartagena confirmed the apprehension of the alleged perpetrator of the homicide that occurred in the New Guinea sector on May 10th. The defendant was charged with the crime of homicide in concurrence with the manufacture, trafficking, or carrying of firearms and personal injury established in Articles 103, 365, and 112 of the Criminal Code. The adolescent was placed in the preventive detention for a term of 4 months. It should be recalled that on May 10th, it was reported by police authorities that a minor has died after being shot with a firearm. The patient was admitted to the hospital. After being attended by the doctors on duty, he died due to the seriousness of his injuries. Following the event, the National Police deployed all investigative and control activities with the support of the CTI to find the perpetrators of this criminal act. Urgent actions were undertaken by the CTI. On that occasion, the police institution recommended the identified perpetrator come to the police headquarters or station so that he could answer for the criminal act.
ASISAP announced the reason for the cancellation of their cessation of activities and the sit-in they had planned for today.
The Teachers Union of the Archipelago of San Andres and Providence, ASISAP, announced the cancellation of its cessation of activities and the sit-in that would take place today in front of the departmental government facilities. Hernando Tovar, president of ASISAP, announced the reasons for the suspension of these activities.
In the year 2022, since January, we knew what the salary ranges was. The payment had not been made effective in the department, so with the delegates of each institution, we met and agreed that if the payment was not made by Friday last week, we would go on a strike and hold a sit-in at the government facilities. That Friday at noon, the retroactive payment and the salary was made. Therefore, what had been discussed with the Secretary of Education was fulfilled, and we had to reverse the strike and sit-in in order. At this moment, there is no strike. Academic activities continue as normal.
ASISAP also announced that currently there is a lack of cleaning personnel in the institutions of the island, a situation that is beginning to affect the conditions in which classes are held in schools. This issue will begin to be discussed within the Teachers Union.
And today, the Truth Commission met with the women of the islands to talk about the protection that is being sought for the victims in our archipelago.
This is a meeting that has been convened by the Consultative Council of Women, who requested the Commission for the Clarification of the Truth a space for intervention with the Special Jurisdiction for Peace and the Search Unit. But the Commission also sought to invite the institutions present on the island so that we could reach an agreement for the non-repetition of the armed conflict. What conclusion has been reached? On the one hand, it is clear that there has been a series of victimizing events on the island that were implemented since 2002 and that has been connected with the country's demobilization processes that have had tremendous repercussions on the issue of forced disappearance. We're talking about more than 600 people victims of enforced disappearance on the island.
Another conclusion of the meeting was that it is of vital importance to profile the victims of the island because there is a stigmatization of the cases present on the island. However, participants stress the importance of institutional support.
La conversación es de mujeres, pero
the conversation is about women, but unfortunately the decision makers who are the territorial entities aren't present. They did not show up. So it is an exercise that is going to give us some education. We are learning and we're on our way. But without the authorities, we can't do anything because the impact is supposed to be between women and authorities so that the violence that has been happening on the island is not repeated. And if there is no one to make the agreement with, it's quite complicated.
This meeting also takes place within the framework of all activities that the Truth Commission has been conducting, which has also held meetings for the dignifying of the victims of the conflict of our island, and that next June 28 will deliver its final report.
And special waste collection rules continue. It's an activity developed by the departmental government to mitigate the impact of the poor disposal of this waste by the community.
The schedule for the collection of special waste and scrap metal continues. With this, the Secretariat of Public Services seeks to mitigate the environmental impact generated after the poor disposal of these by the community, who with the contracting company has tackled the critical points in the department.
This week, we continue to conduct the contract supervision of solid and special waste collection. Tomorrow, the contracting company will be in the sector of El Cibar. Therefore, the inhabitants of this sector should be very attentive incentive.
For the departmental government, it is important to continue collecting special solid waste in different sectors of the island.
The results have been positive. The waste is being taken to the green point, and after that, the contracting company is extracting it to the interior of the country.
The Secretariat of Public Services carries out these constant work days to collect all these special waste in order to remove them from the department as soon as possible. This week's route can also be consulted on the official web pages of the departmental government.
After results of the presidential elections in the first round on Sunday, May 29, we present a balance of what happened in the municipality of Providence.
For the presidential race this past weekend, 1,151 citizens voted in the municipality, of which 30 were in blank, 5 null, and 1,116 for candidates. In Old Providence, the three most voted candidates were Gustavo Petro, who obtained 49% of the votes, Federico Gutierrez with 31%, and Rodolfo Hernandez with 11%. Teleislas News spoke with the community about their perception of what happened this past Sunday, and this is what they said.
Over good man. Well, let's hope Rodolfo win now. Maybe we can go through.
Well, I don't see no election, you know. I don't see no election because, well, anybody want to get, you know, but I don't see no election. Because them they said this one I win, the next one I win. And, well, wait till the next day come in 19, we see who I win or who do I win. Because I don't see no election, no votation like the rest of people on there. I get down there and that was a desert. I go on a boat and I come back. You understand me? So I don't see no election because when you got election, you see the party here and next party, and I don't see no party at all because that was a desert and everybody just gone a boat and go back home.
Well, I believe what win is, say people they want a change and everybody did tired. The one where Uribe say and the fight between Petro and Uribe. So I could feel what happened in the second round.
The election day took place without any disturbance. However, out of 4,523 possible voters, only 25% came out to vote. It is expected for the municipality to have a higher participation during the second round on June 19th.
And now it's time for Sport News with Victor Fusalva.
Hello, here are the best sports of the islands. A renowned coach gives his opinion on what needs to be done to improve the island baseball.
Baseball began its formation process and it should continue working for the welfare of this sport in the department. There are different sources that could help to improve the sport of baseball in our insular department. The renowned trainer, Nelson Santoya, gives his advice on improving this sport on the island.
Para mejorar el béisbol aquí en San Andrés.
To improve baseball here in San Andres, there are many things that need to be emphasized. First, the support, both in the minor categories as well as in the adult categories. The support and the lack of competition. In order to return to the past when teams came here from Cartagena, there were institutional championships and departmental championships. There were also championships between San Andres and Old Providence. And one thing that is the worst enemy of the sport, now both softball and baseball, is the lack of lights. The lights are needed as urgently as possible because there are boys who do not make a living from the sport of baseball since they have to work and do not have time to come to participate and practice in the afternoon, so the lights are badly needed. I remember that when the late Ernesto Steele died, a championship was held in honor of Ernesto Steele. They invited Cuba, Venezuela, Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, and Puerto Rico, and they invited a team from Colombia, which was a team from Cartagena, and a selection that was taken from here, and that raised the level of baseball locally. Then when we went to the nationals, teams like Bolivar and Atlantico had problems beating San Andres.
How good it will be to play baseball at night, games that will serve as an incentive for the islanders, as was stated by Santoya.
The accompaniment of mothers plays an important role in the growth of all athletes.
Skating is a sport that has been giving results in our department, thanks to the performance of coaches and the support of mothers who unconditionally accompany their children, seeking to train them up with sport discipline. This accompaniment is perhaps the most important thing for the young athletes, as some mothers said. Vanessa Fonseca.
Soy la madre de. I am Ellen Cogollo's mother, and she's one of the skaters under the guidance of teacher Liliana Consuegra. Proudly, I can say that every day without fail, I come to accompany my little girl to her skating practice. For me, it is a great satisfaction to see all the progress she has made in her skating career.
Another mother who expresses her opinion is Daniela Dita.
Yo acompaño a mi hija.
I accompany my daughter in her sport. She has been skating since she was 3 years old, and for me it is important to accompany her because it motivates the little ones. So I invite other moms to accompany their children so that they can be more motivated every day and achieve their goals in sport.
Lilibet Fonseca is another mother that accompanies her daughter.
Otra mamita más.
Another mommy who accompanies the skating group here in the morning session, encouraging all the kids to continue in the sport and to be inspired. I invite all the moms who have their children in any sport that they like to accompany them for a little while and take time out of their work and kitchen schedule and watch them do what they like the most, so they are motivated to move forward and set goals other than studying a career.
A well-deserved applause must go to the mothers who accompany their children.
Mothers, you are so important for your children. This will be all in sports for tonight. We will see you on another broadcast. We continue with Lisa.
Thank you, Victor. With Sport News, we reach to the end of our broadcast. We see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. with more of Teleislas news. Good night.